Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kelvin. I'm from City Developments Limited. As what Zuhair has shared just now, our challenge segment this time round will be how might we reduce noise from traffic outside while maintaining a good natural ventilation in residential units. I will explain more in the following slides. Basically, for residential developments, uh, due to the density of Singapore, it's very common for the residential developments to be located either near a major expressway, major road, or even the MRT tracks. All these are actually sources of high noise impact that will on the residential developments. Under the NEA guideline, for new residential development, the internal noise level should not exceed 57 dBA. And according to the BCA building control regulation, natural ventilation has to be provided by means of one or more openable window with an aggregate area of not less than 5% of the floor area. These two items are actually contradicting in a sense because we need to provide openings and yet we need to reduce the noise. That's how we came up with the challenge statement. Next slide. Okay, maybe I just run through some items of what developers are currently doing. First item, let's say if we have a plan for a multi-story car park, usually we will try to locate such facilities closer to the sources of the noise. As such, this will actually act as a barrier, which will help on the residential unit. But not all development. This is not really feasible for all developments. Some of the other mitigation measure that so far we have been using is that probably we need to design for the windows and glass facades to avoid the noise source. However, in the event that we cannot avoid that, then we have to design for double glazed glass to try to reduce the noise. So, as developer, we are also working with acoustic consultant to establish a minimum size of the windows opening that can meet both the noise and ventilation requirement. However, this is a limitation to the design of the window frames that we can come up with. This is like not a desirable outcome as well. Impact of current practice. Um, okay. What's that point you're trying to say is that basically upon TOP of the residential development, um, NEA will usually require us to do a noise level test. If we fail the noise level test, um, we will not be able to obtain TOP, and we will need to come up with additional noise barrier to try to solve this issue. And this noise barrier is usually not aesthetically pleasing for the buyers. Next, please. So some of the opportunities that we are looking out for the solution. Firstly, the solution can be a form some film or some material that is installed at the window or the opening to absorb or deflect or cancel the incoming sound. It can actually also be maybe an innovative window design, for example. We are also open to that. Um, First, one important thing for this solution is that it needs to be aesthetically pleasing because after all, this is a residential unit that will be sold to buyers. Secondly, the solution should not be completely obstruct the view of the window. Ultimately, for residential units, outside the view is a major selling point for developers. Finally, if the solution adopts some forms of active noise cancelling, um, likely there will be a power source that is required. I think the innovators will need to take note how this can be designed for a large scale integration or implementation, and also the power use. It should be low powered if this technology is required. Next, please. So some of the expected outcome. Firstly, we were hoping that this solution will be able to help us go below 10 dBA below the legal requirement of 57, which is about 47. Of course, we want to maintain the good ventilation and retain the marketability of our property. And finally, this solution has to be suitable for large scale integration, and of course, the price point has to be there because it has to be installed in every unit. I think that should be my last slide.
Thank you, Kelvin, for sharing more about the challenge statement. We already received questions from the audience. So our first question from Bart William. What is the typical situation you have in mind? For example, what is the distance from the noise source or the height of the building?
Distance of noise source usually might vary. It might vary from 4 meters away from the road to 8 meters, depending on the setback and the site location. Height of building, again, it also depends on the location. Majority of I mean, it can range from high-rise building that is 20 stories high to mid-level, maybe a five stories apartment. All these are actually quite location dependent.
Okay, thank you for your answer.
Yeah.
Yep. So just to follow on that question, right? Does the noise level vary across the different floors of the building?
Yes, noise travels. There'll be reverberation. So likely the noise level will not be consistent from level 1 all the way to level 20. So if I didn't remember wrongly, usually we'll take sample test at three points. So let's say it's a 20-story building, we'll likely take one test at 18, one test at maybe 10, and one test at maybe 4.
Okay.
And you have to pass all the noise requirement as stated just now.
Yep. The next question is, what is the height of the current noise barriers that are being planned or built?
Okay, noise barriers are usually our last resort. Fortunately, at the moment, I don't think we have a lot of developments that we have resorted to using noise barriers. So at the moment, we still can manage by using the design of the building itself. So just now, one point that I raised up, let's say if they we will usually also try to situate the windows away from the noise source. So what is facing the noise source likely will be the external wall, so that I will not have this noise issue. But one of the marketability issue is that sometimes towards that the direction of the noise might have the best view for the project. So I think we are anticipating further, and this solution will be able to help us have more flexibility in our project design, and definitely in our selling of the units.
I'm just thinking about how for staying near the highways, right? Sometimes the motorbike drive past the highway and you get woken up. So is that key considerations when they consider between daytime and nighttime?
Usually for the noise, it will be 1 hour legal requirement, so it's over a period of 1 hour. So the motorcycle you're talking about usually is a spike noise. So of course it will account for a little bit, but I mean it will not cause the measurement to go out lah. Yeah.
Yep. So we don't have any more questions. Thank you so much for helping to answer those questions.